Salawam, salawam, salawam. First and foremost, as usual, before I begin with this lesson, I want to start it off by saying, Call Allah Yamla Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh by Hashem Kaha Kadash, the bond said the elders and the apostles, a great millstone, who I'm taught and do learn this truth 100% from. Peace and blessings be to all you Akim, Wa'akwatim, who are serving Yahweh Shemal Shan, sincerity, hoping for mercy, as well as salvation in these latter days, man. To you I say Shalom, and Yahweh Shemal Shan Brakathum. So this gonna be I guess you can call it a testimony. And this was before I even came into the truth. This was probably sometime in probably I would say 2018. Yep, 2018. I remember I was just graduating high school. I was supposed to go play college football. And I remember my grades was low. Or not my grades, like my grade point average was a little low, so Jake was gonna take the JUCO route. And I remember, in order for me to enroll, I had to take something called the meningitis shot. And mind you, I came into the truth in January of 2019. I was just turning 19 years old, right, at the time when I came in. All right, so by that time, when I was 18, a couple of months later, I started getting heavy into the so-called conspiracy videos, all the Illuminati videos and shit. I'm pretty sure, before brothers came into this truth, that's how they started off, because the Most High is basically starting to open you up. We'll start off with you looking at conspiracy videos, Illuminati videos, and you're like, damn, this shit, something ain't right. This shit kind of making a little sense, but something ain't right. As the scriptures say, which is I'm gonna grab it. I got a plan to grab it. They have a zeal, but not according to knowledge. All right, and I was one of them brothers. Even though I wasn't in the truth, I didn't know nothing about the truth. A lot of this shit never sat right with me. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I used to be up late at night, just watching videos and shit. And of course I was, like I said, I wasn't in the truth, so I couldn't really filter anything. So a lot of the shit I'll just be believing. If I seen a conspiracy video of meteorites hitting the earth and shit, and say 2022, I probably would have believed that shit. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, I had that zeal. It just wasn't according to knowledge. All right, and so that's how I started off. I started off, watching conspiracy videos, and I remember somehow, some way, I don't remember exactly how, but somehow, some way, I ended up coming across the knowledge of the chip. And I remember being told about this when I was younger. I didn't really understand it, of course, because I was hella young at the time. But I remember my step-grandpa saying something about, he Issachar, how, they want to chip everybody in the future or something like that. And like I said, I didn't really understand it, but I do remember him speaking on it. But I ended up coming, catching it in the wind, around the time when I was 18. And like I said, mind you, in order for me to enroll in college, I had to take the meningitis shot. All right. And this is the point that I wanted to get to, because I remember I had a homeboy I was real close to. Nigga was like my brother. We did everything together. We was chasing that football shit together, in the weight room together. I'm talking about we walking in the snow to the gym together, all type of shit. You know what I mean? If he eat, I eat. If I eat, he eat. If I got it, he got it. If he got it, I got it. In other words, you brothers get the point. But I remember telling him, because he used to be on my ass about getting on that shit, making sure I'm doing what I need to do so I can enroll in college. And I remember I told him, I'm like, man, I don't know if I wanna do this shit, Because what if they put the chip in that shit, in that shot, right? And I didn't know if it was. I didn't know what the mark of the beast was. I just knew not to take that damn chip. You know what I'm saying? It was just always something in me to reject that shit. I'm like, hell no. Like, I ain't fucking with that. You know what I'm saying? And this nigga had the nerve to tell me, man, quit it with that shit. Right? What you saying is true, but your kids' future depend on you. Your kids' eating is gonna be dependent on you, or your kids are dependent on you to eating shit. You know what I'm saying? And I remember when he told me that, I was just like, damn, this nigga's lost. And you feel me? Even though I was lost at that point too, but I had that zeal, man. But I was just like, damn, that shit kind of crushed me a little bit, because I'm like, nigga, you truly don't understand this shit for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit ain't no joke. You know, but nonetheless, it was always in me, even before the truth, to, you know, reject that shit. And I don't ratazah, you know, to the end, man. Right? Because I gave up, you know, sports and all that shit, and I don't regret it. No, I don't regret it one bit. Fuck all that. No, we chasing something, you know, that's gonna be far greater than some goddamn sports, football and shit. Nah, we getting ready, man. By rejecting the MOTB, man, brothers is going to inherit the kingdom of heaven, bro. We're not gonna be worrying about no motherfucking football and playing sports in the kingdom. Right? Jake is gonna have slaves. Right? Jake is gonna be living in big ass gold and opal palaces with, you know what I'm saying, 100, you know, 1,000 wives, man, with hella children running around with afros and shit. You know what I'm saying? Jake gonna be able to take a bite out of fruit, like how you see in the movie Avatar, and that motherfucker gonna be juicy as hell, non-GMO. Right? Fuck all this shit. This shit don't matter. Right? But the point that I wanted to make was that you gonna have, and the elder Yaramah from the Great Millstone Chicago camp had mentioned this in one of his lessons. Man, fuck the 2/3, including your family. All right? Fuck them all. If you can put your kids in that category, you can put your Eve in that category, because at the end of the day, right, these niggas can't help you get salvation. These niggas can't get you salvation. Right, but what they can do is drag your ass back into the world, man. Right, and that itself is a scary thing, man. Right, they can't get you salvation, but they can drag your ass into the world and get you destroyed, man. Right, and that was an example of that. Right, because this lost ass nigga don't know that that's the mark of the beast. Right, so with him being in that mindset, he's gonna be the nigga to go and take that. Right, to feed his family. Right, because this is the type of nigga that, like, you know, this nigga fight tooth and nail over his mama. And don't get me wrong, you know, honor your father and, you know, and your mother. Right, but you know how niggas is, that nigga culture shit is in the world, man. Right, mama say, you know, niggas say, mama want you, and expect you to drop everything. You could be in the middle of doing some shit, mama want you, and expect you to go and see what mama want and shit. Man, fuck all that. All right, you can't have that mindset, and it's true. All right, but he's that type of nigga. All right, so niggas like that are bound to get destroyed, because once Esau really put that pressure, apply that pressure from above and pressure from below, all right, niggas is gonna be backed into a corner. And since niggas have no foundation, right, and don't have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures, they gonna go take that shit, man. All right, but the water you have by myself for dealing with me, and hey, seeing that I had something in me, right, some sincereness in me, right, to bring me into the fold, man. And like I said, I don't want to say, hey, it's to the end, man. All right. But the first scripture that I want to grab is Romans 10:2, because I mentioned having a zeal, but not according to knowledge. And like I said, I done heard many brothers, you know, speak on their testimonies on, you know, before they came into the truth. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got certain brothers who, you know, they probably went into the Illuminati videos, but they just woke up. They got quenched. You know what I'm saying? Or they got quickened, Salaki, you know, by just hearing the truth. You know what I'm saying? I was one of them brothers, as well as many other brothers that started off with the, you know what I'm saying, like the conspiracy videos and shit. You know what I mean? I'd be up late at night. You know what I'm saying? Just uncomfortable, like damn. You know what I'm saying? I need to figure out what the meaning of this, what the meaning of life is and shit. Like, you know what I mean? I was confused on if it was a, you know what I'm saying? If God, you know, hey, Jake was sincere, right? I had that zeal, but I was confused, man. All right, but the Lord knew I was sincere, and I believe that's why the Lord had brought me into the fold, man. All right. But this is Romans 10:2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of Yahweh, but not according to knowledge. All right, and like I said, you know, I always knew, all right, something in my spirit was telling me, like, fuck no. You know, even though they ain't gonna put the chip inside of a, you know, a shot, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. All right, but I had that shit in the back of my mind. You know what I'm saying? I had it in my mind, like, fuck this football shit. You know what I'm saying? If that means that I gotta reject shit and say fuck football and all that, then I'm gonna do so. You know what I'm saying? We gonna figure out another route, man. Right? And that's the mindset that you gotta have, man. Right? Especially being in the know now, right? Having the knowledge of what that is and what the punishment for that is, man. Nah, you gotta have that mindset to say fuck all this shit. Right? Because Esau is gonna get you to the point where you're gonna be tempted, right? You're gonna be tempted, you know, your children, you know, your woman may be begging you, you know, we haven't ate, you know, we're uncomfortable, we're cold. You know what I'm saying? You know how Eve is, man. Alright. Eve family probably gonna be in her fucking ear, right? To try to get inside your ear, man. Hey, your tongue gonna be working. Right? But you gotta know, alright. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know, right? There ain't no plan B, there ain't no plan C, only a plan A, right? And it's no question, or rather not to reject that shit. Hey, you should already know, right? You should already know to, hey, fuck that. We not taking that shit, no matter what. I don't give a damn, even if I gotta be a fulfillment of damn, nigga. Salaki, even if I gotta be a fulfillment of Revelations 20:4, get my motherfucking head chopped off. Hey, that's what we gonna do. Alright. But let's go to the book of Mark 8 and chapter 8 and verse 36, and it reads, for what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? And that's exactly what you gotta do, man. Right? Because when you put that man's technology, you know what I'm saying, in your body, all right, it's gonna merge itself with your flesh. All right. This is why it be considered transhumanism. Right? Once you take that, right, once you insert this man's technology inside of your body, man. All right. And that's the ultimate form, or the highest form of idolatry, because once you take it, you basically saying that the so-called white man is your God, right? You basically saying that the so-called white man is your God, and the Most High is not going to have shit to do with you, man. Right? This is why the punishment for taking it, right, is that fire and brimstone, man. Right? Being left behind, right? Imagine being left behind. When your house shot come back, you seeing Jake getting beamed up, but you get left here. You know what I'm saying? Imagine how fucked up you gonna be in the head, right? Imagine feeling that fire like you ain't never felt before. This ain't no, you get burned with the incense type of fire, the lighter hot, you know, the stove hot. This ain't that. The seat, the belt buckle hot. Man, this is gonna be a fervent heat, man. Like Jake is literally gonna be out here feeling himself melt from the inside out. Just imagine that shit, man. Alright? But you got niggas such as, you know, dude that I was just speaking on, right? He's gonna seek to save his life, man. Alright? He's gonna seek to save his life, right, in a time of affliction. Right? Because, hey, you best believe Esau gonna break this economy down to the point where people gonna be begging for that shit. All right, people gonna be begging for that shit. Man, what the scripture say? He that seeketh to man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna grab that real quick. I think it's in the book of Matthew 12. Let me see. No, I would say this is a good one too, though. Matter of fact, I'm gonna grab this real quick because it's actually time to the lesson. Because I was speaking on, on how it's fuck anybody that's not in this truth, man. If it ain't the brothers, right, and the very few sisters out there, man, it's fuck them. All right, because at the end of the day, man, Jake will try to play on your emotions to get you to go against your Yahweh Shema Shah, man. All right, and that's exactly what dude try to do. All right, try to get in my head and make me feel some type of way like, damn, maybe you right. All right, my kids is depending on me in the future. You know what I'm saying? My family is depending on me in the future. Fuck it, I'm gonna go take it, even if it got the chip in it. You know what I'm saying? That's a nigga's mindset, man. Right, but a brother in the truth is gonna tell you like, hell no, you tripping. You better not go do that shit. The Lord gonna destroy your ass, man. All right, Jake ass in the world a lie to you, man. Jake ass a lot of you in the world, right, to suppress your feelings and shit, man. Right, but a brother in the truth will never lie to you. A brother gonna keep it $150 with you, man. All right, this is the book of Matthew 12. And let's start at 46. It says, while he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. Then one said unto him, behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. But he answered and said unto him that told him, who is my mother and who are my brethren? And he stretched forth his hand towards his disciples. You know what I'm saying? Picture this in your head. All right, Yahweh, he like, man, who my real brothers and sisters? All right, and he pointed at Jake. You know what I'm saying? He pointed at the disciples. You know what I'm saying? That should be your mindset, and it's true. I tell this shit, hey, I tell my rib this shit all the time, man. I be letting my rib ass know. All right, ain't nothing that you can do, right, to prevent me from doing what I need to do for the Lord, man. I don't give a fuck about your feelings, none of that shit. All right, I tell my rib all the time, man, when that time come, bro, you better be prepared to you know what I'm saying, to endure. All right, you can go take that chip and shit. If you take my son with you, then fuck it, so be it. That gotta be your mindset, and it's true, man. All right, don't let shit make you lose your fucking crown, man. All right, because one thing about Eve will do that shit too. All right, scripture said in the book of 2 Ezra 14 that many kings had lost their crown because of the fucking woman. All right, you gonna have Jake in the truth, right? That's gonna, knees gonna buckle. They gonna become bitch made because of they woman in that time. Yeah, because it's easier said than done. It's easy to talk the talk, but when you really gonna have to walk the walk, it's gonna be a whole different story, man. And we're gonna soon see who was a bullshit artist in this truth, and we're gonna see who was really taking this serious, man. Right? And it's a lot of niggas who's not taking this serious, man. A lot of Jake be watching the truth for entertainment, right? And you niggas are still playing when it comes to the MOTB breakdown. WFI got a whole ass 4-hour breakdown talking about fucking nothing. All right? Didn't even explain the buying and selling part. You niggas are through. All right? Niggas saying that it's white women. It's a philosophy. It's sin. You niggas are gone. All right, so whenever they do present this technology to you, I want to see you go take that shit if it's not the mark of the beast. All right, but hey, the true brothers is gonna let you know what it is and what it ain't, man. All right, and if you got that, consider yourself to be blessed, because the scripture says in the book of Sirach, a good and faithful friend is the medicine of life, man. All right, we all we got in the truth, man. All right. brothers is here for your well-being, even though we can't help. We can't get salvation for each other. All right, but brothers is here to keep you sharp, man. A punk ass nigga in the world is not gonna keep you sharp, man. A nigga in the world gonna sit here and tell you straight up that he'll take that fucking chip. All right. But when you're around a brother, man, a brother gonna let you know, like, hell nah, nigga, we gonna die before we take that shit. All right, we gonna be the first risen. Verse 49, and he stretched forth his hand towards his disciples and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same as my brother and my sister and my mother. And like I said, man, I looked at Jake, dude that I was mentioning, I looked at dude like he was my brother. You know what I'm saying? I struggled with dude. You know what I'm saying? We finna, you know what I'm saying? Whenever we was doing our football banquet shit, bro ain't having shit to wear. So I'm looking at buying bro jeans and shit. You know what I'm saying? We going on college visit. Shit, my Duke's paying for all the shit. My real life brother. That's what I thought in the world. Right? But when you come into the ministry, hey, you'll soon realize who your true brethren is, man. Who your true sisters is. Alright? So I wanna grab, I got one more on mine. Let's go to John 12 and 25, and I'll probably close it out on this one. It's the book of John 12 and verse 25, and it reads, he that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. All right? So by a nigga saying that your family is dependent on you, you know what I'm saying, stop it with that shit. This is what this nigga told me. Stop it with that shit. What you saying might be true, or what you saying is true, but your family depending on you. All right? He that loveth his life shall lose it. All right? These niggas, hey, y'all think, man, you niggas is getting ready to lose. All right? Those of you that's gonna go and submitting to this man's system, huh? This beast system. Right? How the fuck is you, and how is you gonna lose your life? Because the Lord is gonna burn you, man. All right? Literally, the Lord is gonna burn you. It says, and he that hated his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. You know what I'm saying? And I can say, the beginning of me, getting into those conspiracy videos and willing to go against the grain of this system, because I was coming into that mindset, man. But Wisdom of Solomon, the son of Solomon, he was up at night. He couldn't even sleep at night because the Most High was opening him up before he blessed him with all that wisdom, man. All right, the Most High was basically opening him up. Brothers that was, brothers know, man. I ain't even got to say too much. Once you started getting that so-called spiritual awakening, right, and that true awakening is when the Lord will give you that breath of life, man. Once you come into the knowledge you an Israelite, you know what I'm saying, who your enemy is, Babylon being destroyed, the kingdom of heaven, right, that's when you truly awaken. All right, but then the Lord starts to wake you up out of that sleep a little bit. You know what I'm saying? By Jake coming into the knowledge of these conspiracy videos and shit like that, man. But you truly start to hate your life when you come into this truth. All right? Because then you be willing to sacrifice all this shit. Ain't nothing in this world I ain't willing to sacrifice. Right? And I don't want to say I really stand on that. Right? Ain't nothing in this world I ain't willing to sacrifice to get the kingdom of heaven, man. Right? Because fuck all this shit. Right? Ain't nothing worth the kingdom of heaven, man. So with that being said, Lord willing, I proved the point, that this lesson was edifying, man. Right, again, just a quick testimony. Even before the truth, I had that zeal, man. All right, and this ain't about me, but like I said, I just